Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome again to welcome to Ummah Radio, and I'm your host Abu Mus'ab. Tonight, being Monday, we're starting a new program which will be the Aqeedah and Hadith class, as it's termed on the forum. The reason for this is because there are only so few days in the week, and there are just so many things that can be taught. So therefore, this day will be used alternatingly between Hadith and Aqeedah. Thursdays, as you know, was already taken up for the question and answer session. Wednesdays was chosen for Arabic. Tuesdays was taken for fiqh, and so that only left Monday. And then there was two classes: an Aqeedah class which someone asked for, and the Hadith which we were doing which someone said to continue with. So therefore, with Monday being the last day, therefore it was taken for both these classes. But starting off now in the beginning, today's class will be on Aqeedah, and so too next week Monday as well. Because today, like I mentioned in the thread, there's no actual class from a book being done today. Today is just an introduction to as you can say, the science of Aqeedah and who the ahlus sunnah is, and all the background of the various groups and things of that sort. So to start from the beginning, we say Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Allahumma la sahla illa ma ja'altahu sahla wa anta taj'alul hazna idha shi'ta sahla. Allahumma ja'alna wa ayana khalisatan liwajhikal kareem. Okay, to begin with, Aqeedah in the time of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a very, although Aqeedah is the most important thing, hence the name why Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah termed it al-fiqh al-akbar, the greatest fiqh, the greatest understanding, to show what a high lofty rank it has. But the thing is that despite its importance, there was so little mention of it in the time of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. The reason why is because for the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, Qul huwallahu ahad, that alone contained enough knowledge of Aqeedah for them. There was never, as you can say, arguments and debates on where is Allah, is the yad a hand, is it like this or like that, all these sort of things. This only came later on in life. So when the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, when they read the Quran, they heard about the wajh of Allah, the yad of Allah, all these various other terms, they were in no doubt or confusion as to what it was. That is why they never they debated or even commented on the topic. So Aqeedah, despite being something very simple, it became something which is very complex and advanced. So although a person needs only a minimal amount of Aqeedah to attain salvation, but because of the deviant beliefs and the kufr which started permeating the ummah, therefore they started the need for this discussion and stuff. So going back into the time, like I mentioned, the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, they never spoke on Aqeedah and things. Then what happened? The empire of Islam began to spread, and it spread to all these other lands. So the books of the philosophers and these people, the Muslims began to read these books, Aristotle, Socrates, and all these other people. And them being philosophers and kuffar, they propagated a lot of kufr beliefs. A person just has to look through their books. In fact, you look through any of the other religions and you see the kufr. For instance, in Christianity, God is described as being an old man with a flowing beard walking around in heaven. A human being, if you'd like to put it in that manner. This is a belief which is totally outside the fold of Islam. This is anthropomorphism. Now, this type of belief started coming into the Muslims when they started reading the works of all these philosophers. And so, for instance, they would see the yad of Allah, literal translation would, you would say, the hand of Allah. Now they would read it, and the philosophers would describe it in all these philosophical terms, basically saying that you got a hand and it's a lam and it's a this, and you use it to take work with that lam, and various other things, and so therefore it's like a human part, and various other sort of things, and this corrupted the Aqeedah of the people. And it was for this reason that the madhahib of Aqeedah first came into play. Imam Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari rahimahullah, who the Ash'ari madhab, as you can say, is named after, he came about because of this, and he explained that all these mutashabihat, that the yad, it does not mean a human hand and all these sort of things. So therefore, as you can say, ta'wil came into play. And likewise, Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, rahimahullah, who is the founder of the Maturidi madhab in Aqeedah. Okay, just on the outlay, you have the Ash'ari Aqeedah, you have the Maturidi Aqeedah, and you have the Athari Aqeedah, also known as the Ahlul Athar, and then you have the Salafi Aqeedah of today. Now, although you may find many people saying that Salafis are Atharis, but if you really take a close look at the books of the Atharis and the books of the Salafis, you will see it's not quite the same Aqeedah. For instance, the Ash'aris and the Maturidis are so alike that many a times you'll find them just referred to as the Ash'aris, although the Maturidis are meant by that as well. And to save time by not repeating Ash'aris, Maturidis, I would also now in this lecture be just referring to Ash'aris instead of saying Ash'aris and Maturidis the whole time. Now the Ash'aris and the Maturidis, their Aqeedah is very, very similar. All the main points, they are the same. There are a handful of points on where the Ash'aris and the Maturidis differ, but the points are minute. For example, according to the Maturidis, you have these various different type of not exactly arguments, but again, as you can say, it's from a philosophical perspective, where they say that is it possible that all the Muslims can go to Jahannam and all the kuffar can go to Jannah? Now the Ash'aris and the Maturidis, they differ on points like this. As you can see, it's basically unimportant points that bear no relevance really. The main points of everything, as you can say, the crux of the matter, they are the same. That's why the Ash'aris would do the Maturidi kitabs and the Maturidis would do the Ash'ari kitabs without there being any problem or difference of opinion really between them. So it's small things like this that the Ash'aris and the Maturidis differ on. Now the Atharis, which is, as you can say, the Aqeedah of the Salaf, their Aqeedah and the Aqeedah which is propagated by the Salafis of today, it's not 100% the same. You'll find parts which resemble one another, but there are additional features in the Salafi Aqeedah which don't exist within the Athari Aqeedah. That's when upon close inspection, you'll find this comes about. And for instance, there was a group in the past who were known as Salafis. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he wrote against them, a refutation against those people of the past who called themselves Salafis, because he said that they were not Atharis. Although he did not use the word Atharis, but of course, when we talk about the Athari Aqeedah, we refer to it as being the Aqeedah of the Salaf. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam al-Tahawi, all the Imam of the Salaf, the first 300 years of Islam. So their Aqeedah. It was only later on, at the end of that time, when Imam al-Ash'ari rahimahullah and the others came about. So that's where now these groups are what the ahlus sunnah consists of. All of them are from the ahlus sunnah. Unlike some people who have this misconception where they claim that the Ash'aris and the Maturidis are not part of the ahlus sunnah. This is a batil, deviant belief of some people where they claim that this Aqeedah is incorrect or it's not part of the ahlus sunnah. Because this statement is either said by people of no knowledge or people who are deviant, one of the two. Because when you make such a statement and you say that the Ash'aris and the Maturidis are not part of the ahlus sunnah, then you condemn 1,000 years of the greatest of the ulama to being deviant. All the Imam al-Nawawi, Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, all of them, they were all Ash'ari, and of course the others who were Maturidi, except for the handful who like Imam Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, and then the Hanabila, they, over the years, they were, okay, the Hanafi, Shafi'i and Maliki madhab, they all took towards the Ash'ari and Maturidi approach. And when they went off astray amongst them, then they would go into, as you could say, into Mu'tazila and Murji'ah. That's when they went off the path, they would go to that direction. The Hanabila, those of the Hanbali madhab, they were more Athari, and when they went off the path, they went to Tajsim, they became Mujassima, anthropomorphists. And this is what the ulama of the Hanbali madhab themselves have stated. In fact, Imam Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he too mentions this point. So this is why you find this difference of opinion between the various ulama. Now here's one more point I want to mention. Many people think of when they think Ash'ari and the Maturidi, then they think of people making ta'wil, and some deviant people say that ta'wil is ta'til. When you make ta'wil, then you are rejecting the sifat, the attributes of Allah. But this is incorrect. The Ash'ari and the Maturidi Aqeedah, they have two madhabs within themselves, and many people don't know about this. The Ash'ari, like I said, I'm going to refer to both Ash'ari and Maturidi both together in one group and call them just simply Ash'aris. So the Ash'ari, they have two madhahib within themselves. One type is termed Ta'wil Ijmali, and the other type is termed Ta'wil Tafsili. Now Ta'wil Ijmali is basically, as you can say, the Aqeedah of the Salaf, with no Ta'wil being made. And then Ta'wil Tafsili is what people normally attribute to the Ash'ari madhab, where ta'wil is made for certain attributes and things. Okay, just one thing, going over certain terms like a mujassima, tajsim. Tajsim means to ascribe a body to Allah. Mujassimi is a person who ascribes a body to Allah, and the mujassima is the name of the group. Translated into English, we term them as anthropomorphists. So that was just a quick question. So coming back, the Ash'aris and the Atharis, the reason why they differ is because, again, of another point. We come to something which is known as tafweed. Tafweed, if you translate it into English, it refers to leaving the knowledge of that to Allah. Now the Atharis, they say that the Salaf made tafweed al-kayf. Tafweed al-kayf, they left the howness, the kayfiyah, the howness of all these attributes, how it is and things, they left the knowledge of that to Allah and they did not explain it. The Ash'aris, they say that the Salaf made tafweed al-kayf and tafweed al-ma'na as well. They left the knowledge of the howness to Allah, and also they left the knowledge of the meaning, what is intended by this, that by this word like yad and wajh and things, that too, they leave the knowledge of that to Allah and they do not give it a meaning. So this is why the Ash'aris are still Ash'aris and the Atharis are, why they have not, as you can say, become one group known by the same name, because they differ on what exactly is the Aqeedah of the Salaf, whether they did both or simply one. And there are the narrations for both sides. The Imams of the Ahlul Athar, they have their narrations which indicate that way. And likewise, there's a book of Imam Zahid al-Kawthari where he mentions a couple of narrations there which shows tafweed al-kayf and ma'ana as well. So that is why there is all this difference of opinion. So coming back to where I was earlier, the four, okay, if you want to term Ash'ari and Maturidi as one, you can then take Athari and Salafi if you want to term them as another, as one group too, to save time and not repeat four names the whole time. So because of these four groups, that is why this big difference of opinion has come, all as a result of the influence of philosophy upon the Muslims and the need to combat it. So that's why the Ash'ari and the Maturidi, why they stood and they protected the iman of the people No, it wasn't just, as you can say, all willy-nilly, just because they wanted to make something new, or because they were deviants, as some people claim, so therefore they came out with something new. It was not that at all. It was because the aqeedah of the people were in danger. People were now taking things which were understood by the Salaf as being simple and straightforward. People were taking those same things and becoming kafir as a result of it, attributing body parts to Allah. That is why you find things like the term mujassima, for example. Um, People began to say that Allah has a body. Now, in the Quran and the Sunnah, there's no mention of a body for Allah. So now some deviant people, again, because of this influence of philosophy, they started attributing, because if you have a hand and you have a face, because the sifat mentioned are wajh, which is face, yad, which is hand, and such things. So therefore, they said that if you have these things, limbs, then therefore you must have a body. All again from a philosophical point of view. So this kufr began to permeate within the ummah. So therefore, the Ash'aris came about to say, no, this is not what it means. So therefore, they did the ta'wil to show, not to deviate the people, but to say that no, when Allah says wajh here in this ayah, Allah is not referring to a face like you are assuming here, a human face or something of the sort. So therefore, you have one, the ta'wil ijmali, this is again within the Ash'ari madhab. Ta'wil ijmali, where they would say, the face, the wajh, is the wajh, and we leave it up to Allah. We don't make ta'wil of it. This is within, you are still 100% Ash'ari while holding this belief. Then the other Ash'ari, of course, now for the general public, because obviously if they were getting confused with it before, therefore there was a need to explain it. So therefore they said that ta'wil tafsili is now to explain it in more detail. Tafsil means in detail. Ijmal means, as you could say, concise, and tafsil is in detail. So they would say that yad, not as some people, yad does not mean power. So Ash'aris don't say that yad means power. Then when you say yad only means power, then you are negating an attribute of Allah. And this is where some other deviant groups went off the path, where they negated the various sifat of Allah and they gave it other meanings. Those are the mu'attila. They did ta'til. The two opposites, one is mushabbiha, who did tashbih. They liken Allah to the creation, and the opposite end of the spectrum were the mu'attila. They did ta'til. They negated the sifat and gave other meanings to things. So that is, now the ahlus sunnah walks the middle path. It neither goes ifrat nor tafrit. It doesn't go to the one end of the spectrum nor to the other. It stays on the center path. And like I mentioned, whether you are an Athari or you are an Ash'ari, whichever one you are still on the ahlus sunnah, you're still on the straight path. Some people mistakenly, whether it's intentional or unintentional, they try to misinterpret, whether it's to hoodwink the people or what, I do not know their intentions. But for instance, Imam As-Safarini rahimahullah, in his kitab, he said Athari, in his kitab Ad-Durratul Mudiyya fi Aqd al-Firqat al-Mardiyya, he mentioned, this is a very nice kitab, it's written in poetic form. He mentioned in there, after speaking about the Aqeedah of the Salaf and everything, and he says, وَلَيْسَ هَذَا النَّصُّ جَزْمًا يُعْتَبَرْ فِي فِرْقَةٍ إِلَّا عَلَى أَهْلِ الْأَثَرِ. So when they read this term, either they misunderstood it or they intentionally try to change its meaning. Imam As-Safarini was saying that this وَلَيْسَ هَذَا النَّصُّ جَزْمًا يُعْتَبَرْ, this whole description that he was giving of what the ahlus sunnah is, the best path, meaning the path of the Salaf, the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, all of these qualities cannot apply in its entirety to any other group other than the Ahlul Athar. But then he goes further to say that the Ash'aris and the Maturidis are also on the path of the Ahlus Sunnah. So some people try and use this, and they say, no, Imam As-Safarini said that the Ash'aris and the Maturidis are astray, and the only Ahlus Sunnah is the Atharis. But this is incorrect. What he is saying is that the Atharis try to keep as close as possible to the Aqeedah of the Salaf. And like I mentioned, the Ash'aris also have this, when they make the Ta'wil Ijmali, then they too follow the same, as close to the Salaf as possible. without making any ta'wil. So when he was referring to this jazman yu'tabar fi firqatin illa ala ahli al-athar, he was referring to the ahlul athar. Obviously, when people think Ash'ari, they think ta'wil, but when you think athari, you think no ta'wil. So therefore he was using these terms in this manner. Not to say that the Ash'aris are deviant or that they are astray or anything of the sort. Like many people nowadays, you find so many ignorant people claiming Ash'aris and Maturidis, they are deviant, it's a batil Aqeedah, and therefore when they are faced with Imam like Imam al-Nawawi, Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahumullah and others, then they try to say no, they weren't actually Ash'ari. Or you find some people who are blatant enough to say that Imam al-Tahawi rahimahullah, he was deviated on this point in Aqeedah. Someone who was born yesterday, who has no knowledge of his own but what he has taken from the great Imam of the past, then he still has the audacity to attack them and say, okay, he was good here, but he was deviated on this point, despite the fact that these Imam are from the Salaf. So many people, they went astray in today's time by claiming that the Ash'aris and the Maturidis are not part of the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa. That is as far as the four groups are concerned. And like I mentioned, they are part of the ahlus sunnah, and we do not reject any one of them, saying that they are outside the fold of the ahlus sunnah. Now was one extra point I wanted to mention, which I said was going to be done in the class tonight. Okay, so that was an introduction to the Aqeedah and the reason for the formation and evolution. Okay, the reason for the formation of these madhahib, like I mentioned, was because of this influence of the philosophers upon the Muslims, and that is why they had changed like this, and the reason why they had to do all of this ta'wil and things in order to save the Aqeedah of the people. The differences between the various schools of Aqeedah is, like I mentioned, the ta'wil and not ta'wil, non-ta'wil of the Atharis and that of the Ash'aris. And okay, who is considered to be inside and outside of the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa? Like I mentioned, that's these four groups. The deviant groups, like obviously Shia, are not part of the ahlus sunnah, and obviously hadith rejectors, Qadianis, and like for instance Mu'tazila, and all these various groups, they are also outside the fold of the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa. In the past, there were many deviant groups that started in the early days. You had the Mu'tazila, you had the Khawarij, you had the Qadariyah, you had the Jabriyah, you had the Murji'ah. For the Mu'tazila were, like you can say, the main group, and these various ones are offshoots of them. The Mu'tazila, everything came from a basis of Aqeedah, and this they began to deviate even during the time of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. That is why you'll find there were Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma was still alive during, and a few other Sahaba, when these deviant groups came about. And the Mu'tazila, they split off, and one group of them became known as the Qadariyah. The Qadariyah, they rejected Qadar. Qadariyah comes from the term Qadar, which means fate and predestination. So they rejected fate and predestination and said, no, it don't exist. They said, Mashi'atullah tabi'un li mashi'atil abd. That the will of Allah follows the will of the the people. So this is how the Qadariyah came. So they say man is in control of everything. So they negated Qadar, fate and predestination. Then another offshoot broke about, and they became known as the Jabriyah. They say that man has no free will whatsoever. According to them, they say that Allah forces you into something, and you just have to do it. So obviously, they came out with various other deviant beliefs that how can a person go to Jahannam when you are just doing what Allah made you do, and all other kufr things like that. So they went far astray off the path altogether. So these ones, they strayed like this from the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa. This is the Qadariyah and the Jabriyah. The Mu'tazila, then you have them who various, sometimes it's small points, sometimes it's big points. They rejected the punishment in the grave. But there's so many points about them that books have been written on the deviance of all these various groups. In fact, there is one kitab known as Al-Farqu Bayn al-Firaq wa Bayan al-Firqati al-Najiyati minhum, written by Imam Abdul Qahir al-Baghdadi, rahimahullah, which is wherein he lists all the various sects. The whole first part of the kitab deals with all the various sects and who are all outside the fold of the ahlus sunnah and those who are into kufr as well. And then in the ending, he speaks about the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa. When you look at the sects that he mentions, then you can see many of the sects have died out. For instance, he mentioned like the Shia and all the various types of Shia sects that they were around. Many are as you can say, extinct today. There were Shia who believed that Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu was Allah. This was a group of Shia who held this belief. They worshipped Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu and said that he was Allah. Like the Christians believe Jesus came to earth and Jesus was God. There were Shia who held the same belief. But those Shia, as you can say, they are extinct today. They died out. And many other groups who were like this over the years. It's a very big kitab, and it has a lot of benefit if you actually read the whole kitab. Like I mentioned earlier, you had the Mujassima, and you have the Mu'attila, you had the Karramiya, the Najjariya, the Sabi'iyya, you had the Janahiya, the Mansuriya, the Harbiya, the Khattabiya, the what all and what not, and the various types of Khawarij, and the Hululiya. Now you find when you go through these various deviant groups, you find many of the beliefs are sometimes even existing till today. For instance, if we take a look at the Hululiya. Okay, Hululiya are of various groups, and you find it amongst some people of Tasawwuf who went off the path, where they say that, as you can say, Allah is everything and everything is Allah. As you can say, Wahdatul Wujud. Hululiya, Wahdatul Wujud, as you can say, is basically based on Hululiya, on the Ahlul Hulul. It's the same belief. To actually go into all of these things, you need to lengthy discussions, because there is just so much to go through. One group of these deviant sects, this book, like I said, it's got lots of pages in, and this is only one of the various books that have been written about the deviant sects. In fact, there's possibly 72 sects just within this one book alone. And this is not even all the deviant sects. There are other deviant ones which are still to come, or rather that has come about nowadays that weren't existing before. For instance, the Hadith rejectors and the Qadianis and all these various other people, they were not even existing in the time when all these other deviant groups were written down. So there's a lot to be said on the, as you can say, the topic of deviant sects. And on the topic of the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa, there's also a lot that can be said there. But again, each one takes a lot to discuss. Aqeedah deals with, as you can, if you want to say, it deals with 2 points. One thing that you have to believe, and one, we have those things which are farad, meaning you have to do it, and those things which are haram that you have to avoid. So likewise in Aqeedah, there are the things that you have to know, and there are the things that you have to avoid. So therefore you find that Aqeedah is split between the things that you have to believe and the things which you may not believe, otherwise it puts you outside the fold of Islam. So somebody was asking earlier about a book on, as you can say, which deals with those things which declare a person a kafir. And I said that although there are lots to be said on that topic, but there's no one single small book that has been written which lists, as you can say, that those things of kufr in an easy, small manner. There is, for instance, the book Al-Fadh al-Kufr, which is a small book, but it's all in Arabic and it has not been translated. In fact, it's still in manuscript form. So it would be very difficult to expect someone to read that kitab. In fact, to just make out what's written in the kitab is in itself a battle. So you have some kitabs which are dedicated just to those things which put you outside of the fold of Islam, but various of the books of Aqeedah itself contains chapters which deal with things that put you outside the fold of Islam. And inshallah, we will be coming to all those things in the future, because that is just the first, as you can say, the introduction. We weren't actually doing much today. It was just to, as you can say, give a bit of an introduction, so that when the classes start, people don't have any preconceived ideas and misconceptions that they bring in. Because the first kitab that we are going to do, which will be done next week, inshallah, is Al-Aqeedah al-Murshida. Very small kitab. As you can say, you can put it on one single A4 page, so small it is. So inshallah, we may be able to do the whole kitab in one go. So obviously, being as you can say, an Ash'ari kitab, many of the people, when they hear Ash'ari, they think, with their preconceived ideas, they think Ash'aris are deviant, so this is a deviant kitab, so don't listen, otherwise you'll go astray, and all things like that. So that was the reason why I said we need to have an introduction first, to clear up something, so that people don't, as you can say, they don't want to learn because they think that you're going to go astray from it. Okay, so, here's one question here. Are all Shia outside the fold of the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa? Yes, all the Shia are outside the fold of the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa. You see, the ahlus sunnah is to do with Aqeedah, and Qadianis, hadith rejectors, and Shia, and all these people, they differ with the ahlus sunnah on the basis of Aqeedah. So whether they are Ismailis, whether they are Aga Khanis, whether they are Bohras, or whether they are Alawis, whether they are the Rafidah, whatever the case may be, they are all far removed from the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Now you have other various groups, who are, within the Ash'ari and Maturidi Aqeedah, you have people, various sects who ascribe to these groups, but who have their own additional deviances that they bring with them. For instance, if you mention like the Barelwis, the Barelwiya, however you prefer to term them, the Brelopiads, whichever term you find suits them the best. So for them, they say they are Maturidi, but their Aqeedah is not that of the Maturidiyah. They bring additional things from their side, and of course, like I mentioned earlier, you find the belief of Wahdatul Wujud. People who claim to be Ash'ari and Maturidi, but they also bring with them this belief of Wahdatul Wujud, that everything is Allah, and Allah is everything, and everything exists within Allah. Everything is a part of Allah. That's why you find they say that I saw Allah in the temple. You'll find these things written in those books. That there are many things which are written and attributed to Sufis, which are completely false, which they themselves never wrote at all. You find, like for instance, one Sufi story says that I looked for Allah in the masjid and I didn't find Allah there, and I went to the temple, but I found Allah over there. Now, a statement like this is pure kufr, and this was is falsely attributed to a Sufi when he never even said this at all. But even if somebody did say it, as you can say, it holds no weight whatsoever in the Sharia. What is wrong, regardless of who or what it comes from. So, like I was speaking, this Baralvis, they bring additional beliefs of their own into Islam, which is like Hadir Nadir, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam can see and hear everything, and things like that, which is not the Aqeedah of the ahlus sunnah wal jamaa at all. Okay, to go into that whole topic of the Hadir Nadir and all the various other beliefs that they come along with, that requires a whole separate session, because there have been books already written in refuting all those things. So this is not the place right now to go through those stuff. But yes, inshallah, in due time we may explain and go through all those things as well. Okay, I don't think I mentioned in the beginning, but these Ummah radio classes are being done through the radio, and anyone who wants to send in questions, if you've got anything about a question about the lesson or anything, you can send it via Skype to Ummah Radio. That's the username. Unfortunately, I don't think I've got the thread open right now. Okay, I do have the thread open right now. So if you wanted to, you could even post it on the thread itself. So it's Monday. So it's the Monday-Aqeedah and Hadith class. If you wanted, you could post your question there. Otherwise, if you want it faster, you could just send it directly to Skype at Ummah Radio. Okay, a question here. What about the ayah that says Allah is nearer to you than your jugular vein? Yes, this will all come in due time. Like I said, we will be doing the whole subject of Aqeedah, and all these things, the very, as you can say, the mutashabihat, where it says وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, which is this nearer than a jugular vein. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, and when my servants ask you about me, then I am near. And الرحمن على العرش استوى, and all these various ayat with hadith and things, it will be explained as to who believes this, which group believes what, and why they believe it, and what is the correct belief. Okay, that is actually touched on in Aqeedah al-Murshida tomorrow, which is, not tomorrow, next week's class. So that will be done there as to what the Aqeedah of the ahlus sunnah is. But I spoke about it before in one of the question and answer sessions, when somebody asked a question that, where is Allah? So some people, they use this ayah and they say that وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, therefore it means that Allah is everywhere. They use this. And others say الرحمن على العرش استوى, and they translate it to say that Allah is above the arsh. Okay, here's another point here. When the Ash'aris and the differ, what, as you can say, the Salafis of today, then they differ. One of the main points they differ on is this Ar-Rahmanu ala al-Arsh istawa. As you can say, the most merciful is established over the throne. That's the English translation if you prefer it in that manner. Now, the Ash'aris argue and they say that istawa ala al-Arsh in the Arabic language has got 15 possible meanings. Not 1, not 5, not 10, but 15 possible meanings. So why do you specify that particular meaning to say that, as you can say, above the arsh? That's only one of the 15 meanings. So they ask that why do you take out this meaning in particular when there are 14 others? Why do you, as you can say, reject the other 14 meanings to take this meaning here? Okay, that's a long story. If you go into Ash'ari Aqeedah kitabs, we can deal with the whole Ash'ari argument, and then from the Athari side, you can see all their arguments, and from the Salafi side, you can see all their arguments again. But all of those things will be in its place in due time, inshallah. But yeah, so that Ar-Rahmanu ala al-Arsh istawa and وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, it does not mean at all that Allah is either restricted in a place. Okay, when you say some Salafis, they say that Allah is sitting on the arsh, and thus you find in their words, Allah is sitting on the arsh, and the kursi is the footstool where Allah puts his 2 feet. This is what you find written in their kitabs, so that is their belief now. Then you find the others who say that Allah is everywhere. Again, they took Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arshi istawa and came to that conclusion. And others took وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, that we are closer to you than your jugular vein. And they took that to mean that Allah is everywhere. And obviously from here stemmed the whole concept of wahdatul wujud, which I explained earlier, that everything is Allah, and Allah is in everything. And obviously the arguments against these type of things books have actually been written on it, and various arguments and refutations are still in existence still today. You can even find some of them in English on the various Fatawa websites for that matter. So the ayah which says that وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, the ulama, they all explain that it refers to like with the knowledge of Allah, with the hearing and sight and things like this. But as you can say, the being of Allah is not restricted to a place. This I explained also last time in the question and answer session, when the hadith which is reported in Sahih al-Bukhari, if I'm not mistaken, which is towards the beginning of the kitab, which says كَانَ اللَّهُ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْءٌ غَيْرُهُ, that Allah existed and there was nothing besides Him. Besides Allah, there was nothing in existence. And from an Arabic perspective itself alone, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْءٌ غَيْرُهُ. Shay'un, in the Arabic language, this word is nakira. You have ma'arifa and nakira. I forgot the English translation of ma'arifa and nakira. Right now, it slipped my mind. I can give you the Arabic explanation, but the English, as you can say, the English terminologies sometimes elude me. Okay, ma'arifa is, as you can say, it's a definite noun or definite word, and nakira is indefinite. So nakira, وَالنَّكِرَةُ تُفِيدُ الْعُمُومِ, nakira can apply to anything and everything, from the smallest to the biggest. So when it says وَلَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْءٌ غَيْرُهُ, and not a single thing existed besides Allah. This is what this term شَيْءٌ غَيْرُهُ, what meaning it gives off. It means that no time, no place, no space, no air, no nothing existed. Only Allah alone existed. There was not a thought, even as you can say, of anybody or anything. Again, the philosophers, they came with their beliefs where they say that 5 things are eternal. For them, Allah is eternal, and Iblis is eternal, and time is eternal, space is eternal, and one other thing which slips my mind. And other groups, they say that, okay, some deviant groups who claim to be Muslim and also took these kufr beliefs of the philosophers, they said that Allah is eternal, and the nafs, the soul is eternal, and again, time and space is eternal. So they brought this type of kufr beliefs. So you find some people saying that the universe is eternal, it's uncreated, and or time is uncreated, space is uncreated. When Allah is the creator of everything, they make it as though space and time was already existing without Allah having to have created it. So basically, by saying that, you are attributing partners to Allah, because Allah is alone, the only one the only creator. If Allah did not create time and space, then who created time and space? The whole thing of being creation is that you have a beginning. And if you don't have a beginning, then you are a creator as well, because nobody created you. You existed in eternity. So there's a big pitfall for all these sort of things here, where people say that no, space and space meaning place, and time was already in existence before anything else. So coming back to the hadith, كان الله ولم يكن شيء غيره, that Allah existed and nothing besides Allah at all in the least existed. And this is an authentic hadith, and it puts down the law that only Allah existed and there was nothing else. No place, no time, no nothing at all. Then Allah created time, and Allah created place, and Allah created the pen, and Allah created the arsh, and Allah created the water, and light and darkness, and every single last thing from the smallest to the biggest. But originally there was nothing besides Allah. So the question is, where did Allah exist when before? Because the hadith says وَلَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْءٌ غَيْرُهُ, nothing at all existed. So where was Allah? Allah was in existence. So after Allah created all these things, Allah was still in existence. Allah did not change. You see that the whole thing of creation is that you change. You change from non-existence into existence, and you change from one state to another. This is, as you can say, it is an alama. It is a sign that you are a created being. So, when I gave that last talk on the question and answer session, I mentioned a Arabic statement which was mentioned by Mufti Ismail Menk in one of his lectures, which is to do with the knowledge of Allah. But he says, يَعْلَمُ مَا كَانَ وَمَا يَكُونُ وَمَا لَمْ يَكُونْ إِذَا كَانَ كَيْفَ يَكُونُ. That Allah knows what has happened, what will happen, and that which is not going to happen, if it were to happen, how it would happen. To repeat that in English, it may sound a bit confusing. يَعْلَمُ مَا كَانَ, Allah knows what has happened. وَمَا يَكُونُ, and what will happen. وَمَا لَمْ يَكُونْ, and that which is not going to take place. إِذَا كَانَ كَيْفَ يَكُونُ, if it were to happen, how it would happen. Allah knows everything that is going to happen before it happens, without any change taking place in the knowledge of Allah. If you have a glass of water and a glass of milk in front of you, and you take the glass of milk in your hand, Allah knows which one you are going to drink before you drink it, without any and then you put that milk down and you take the water. Allah knows about it without any change taking place in the knowledge of Allah. The knowledge of Allah is all encompassing. So this is as far as a very long big tangent I went off on. It was actually related to the نحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد, that the ulama say that it refers to with the knowledge of Allah and the like the power of Allah, the sight and the hearing, and all these various other attributes of Allah. So that is how the ayah وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ is explained, and it's understood through another ayah as well, wherein Allah says that Allah's knowledge is there. So therefore, it's not like you can say it's just something made up by the ulama. There is a basis for it from the Quran itself, where they come out to this conclusion. So I was speaking on something on one point when I went off, and I don't remember where I left off and how I came to this and how I ended up back here again. Like I said, sometimes it just takes, you speak for a while and you can't remember exactly where you started from. Okay, so basically that's been a short introduction to what the subject of. You have now an idea of where you stand with regards to Aqeedah, where it came in, why it is there, what purpose it serves, who are the ahlus sunnah, who are not the ahlus sunnah, and all the, as you can say, the various other things that go along with it. Okay, it seems like nobody else has sent in any questions. There are a few minutes left. We're currently sitting on 53 minutes. And like I mentioned in the thread, because people do not want very long classes, so therefore I said that the classes would be between 45 minutes to an hour long. So a couple more minutes and then we can end, inshallah. Okay, a question came here, bringing on the question that if Allah knew we would sin, why make us sin? Allah don't make people do anything. This is where freedom of choice comes into the question. And this again is another big point of Aqeedah, which is, as you can say, qadr, fate and predestination. Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, he said that when some people came and they traveled to him to tell him that some deviant groups have started up and they reject fate and predestination, then he told them that you can go and tell those people that I am free of them, I have nothing to do with them. And then he explained that if you can do everything that you want to, and Allah will not accept a single thing from you until you حتى تؤمن بالقدر, until you believe in fate and predestination, none of your deeds will be accepted. Basically, by that statement, he was saying that the people who reject qadr, fate and predestination, they are not Muslim. That is what is inferred by the statement of Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma. Now, this subject of qadr, fate, predestination, and the knowledge of Allah again is linked to the free will of mankind. Angels do not have free will. They can, it's not like, for me, if I see, as you can say, let's say a man sees a bottle of wine in front of him and a glass of milk. He has within his capabilities to drink the wine or to drink the milk. Allah has given him the choice. If he drinks the wine, he gets a sin. If he drinks the milk, alhamdulillah, he drinks something halal. So he has the choice between the two. An angel does not have free will at all. They do that which Allah commands them to do, and that's it. They don't, okay, I want to now go and have a holiday, or I want to do this and do that and things like that. That don't exist. The angels, they do not have a free will. They do only that which Allah commands them to do. So, by Allah knowing the future and knowing the past and knowing everything, what is hidden and what is apparent and everything, you are making the decision yourself. Allah is not telling you go and sin. Allah is telling you here is right and this is right and this is wrong. Allah commands you with right and forbids you from the wrong. But Allah gives you the choice that it's up to you to choose. Are you going to take the path of right, or are you going to take the wrong path? That is your choice, whether you take this one or you take that one. So nobody can blame Allah and say that Allah made me do this. Allah gave you the choice and you did it all on your own. Okay, question came in here. What is the difference between manhaj and aqeedah? And what does it mean when someone is said to be off the manhaj? This term of the manhaj is, as you can say, it's a very madkhali Saudi Salafi. When I say Saudi Salafi, I mean Talafi, I mean madkhali term, because they say everybody is off the manhaj of the manhaj of the Salaf. Basically, everyone is astray, everyone's a deviant. The Aqeedah is corrupt, and therefore they are off the manhaj. That is what is meant when they say you are off the manhaj. The Aqeedah is, as you can say, the whole belief system. The manhaj is the method and the manner and the approach taken to something. That's the difference between Aqeedah and the manhaj, both ways. So that's the difference between Aqeedah and as you can say, manhaj and Aqeedah. Okay, I don't see any more questions over here. Okay. Well, in any case, with that being the ending of the questions, if anyone has, you can send in so quickly. We can continue for a moment more. But in any case, if that is all, then we would end on that point. But now you have a bit of an introduction. You know now the various groups of Aqeedah and where they came from and things like that. So you're not as you could say, a total noob where these things are concerned. The main point is that you do not have misconceptions and preconceived notions and ideas, because when you have these things in your mind, then you are unable to learn anything properly, because you're more quick to reject something before you accept it. So when you reject it, it don't stay in your mind, it goes out to being the one time. So you end up listening and you end up learning nothing. So that's why I said there was a need for a bit of an introduction. It's not the best of introductions, I know. A lot more could have been said in a lot of a better way. But unfortunately, I'm not all that good in explaining things in a proper manner. But hopefully it was sufficient for people to be able to understand a bit of something, inshallah. So with that being said and done, tomorrow night, inshallah, like I said, we'll continue and we'll start our first Hanafi fiqh class. And then of course Wednesday being the first Arabic class, we'll start Medina Arabic course book 1 from the beginning all over again, and Thursday being the normal question and answer. But then next Monday again, inshallah, we'll be done with the introduction part to Aqeedah, and then we will do the Kitab al-Aqidatul Murshida. And that the link is on Ummah forum on the thread Monday Aqeedah and Hadith class. The link is there in the first post. So if you want to follow up in the kitab, you can download it from there. Otherwise, if you don't want to, or you can't read Arabic, or whatever the case may be, the whole kitab will be translated, so you don't have to worry either way. So with that being said and done, inshallah, we will end on that point. And we say, وَصَلَّى اللَّهُ وَسَلَّمَ وَبَارَكَ عَلَى نَبِيِّنَا مُحَمَّدٍ سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.